welcome to Kinks and Beats Daily. Happy Monday to you. I hope you guys are having a great holiday break this week. I mean, we really get lazy during this week, am I right? Well, anyway, I'm glad you're here listening. We are kicking off the final week of 2019, and we got some cool stuff lined up for this week and some cool stuff lined up for the future. So I thank you all for downloading and listening. Thank you for the couple of you that left new reviews on iTunes. I do appreciate that. We will talk more about those on another podcast. On New Year's Day, Wednesday, we are discussing Waterloo Sunset. And I know that song means a lot to people. So if you'd like to get involved in that episode, or any episode, give me a call, 925-494-1739, or email me at kinksandbeats@herohabit.com. Today, we are talking about Jukebox Music, which was released February 12th, 1977 on the Kinks Sleepwalker LP. And it was also released as a single June 3rd, 1977, backed with Sleepless Nights in the UK and Life Goes On in the US. Life Goes On, maybe my favorite song on this album, but we'll talk about that when we talk about that. So the more we've done this podcast, the more I'm appreciating Sleepwalker. And I've mentioned it before. I was kind of dismissive of this period as a little lightweight. You know, this is the beginning of the arena rock period. And some of it, to me, used to sound kind of, I don't want to say yacht rocky is how I've said it before, but it just sounded kind of, it was a little polished and all that. Now that I'm older and going back on it and listening to it more critically, I'm realizing how much I like this album. And I've always kind of liked it because this is the only one I had on LP for a long time on vinyl. And I don't know where I got it because I've had this LP for years, longer than I've been a Kinks fan. So I think I was given to it because it was a classic rock album or something, and then didn't really pay much attention to it, but it is a good album. This is the second song that we've covered off of Sleepwalker. We did Stormy Sky a little while ago. And if you want, on Friday, instead of doing the weekly updates that I've been doing, what I'm going to start doing is on Friday, I'm going to post this new post I've got that's got all the albums separated and all the track listings. And you can go through and see if they're black, we haven't covered it yet. If they're red, we have, and you can click on it and listen to those episodes. So if you're just joining us now, we're 57 episodes in. And that number is growing quickly when we're doing 5 a week. So you can go to herohabit.com and check out this little chart I've got and see exactly which songs were covered and listen to them directly from that page. So I'm looking at it right now because it's just about done. And this is only the second song from Sleepwalker we've done, which is surprising to me because I do really like this album. Rolling Stone magazine called Jukebox Music the best song on this album. And from a musical standpoint, they might be right. I do like Life Goes On a little bit better, I think. Just as a personal taste, but musically they might be right on this one. This is a very classic rock song. And to this point, we hadn't gotten a lot of classic rock song. If you would have told me this was the band Free, I would have believed you. It has a very classic 1970s rock and roll sound. It's beautifully produced. My only complaint about the production is that maybe the drums could have been mixed or recorded a little bit different. The snare seems buried to me in some way. And this song feels like it should have a little bit more bass activity. But listening to it, listen to John Dalton's bass work on this song. Exceptional bass work. And he doesn't always get the credit he deserves for being such a good bass player, because a lot of times the stuff that he plays does not require him to be super flashy. It just requires him to be an anchor. And for a lot of people, that's not enough. For me as a musician, I want that anchor. If you can give me a solid foundation, I don't care what you're doing underneath it, right? Because I like playing with a bass player that can be the foundation of a song, and he is always a good foundation. But on this one, he lets loose a little bit, and the way it's mixed allows us to hear it a little bit better. And he does some fantastic bass lines on this. This was some of his final work with the band. He left before the recording of this album was finished. He left the band to stay home with his family and get off the road, and because he said that he wasn't making enough money. So this is like a good farewell statement to him. But it's good stuff. I would listen to that. The guitar work is great. There's some good stuff in there. It's a little bit, it's basic blues-based guitar rock. You do this thing where you play the chord and then you play a fourth above it as a fill, not as an actual chord change. So I'm going A to D there. But I've never really changed from an A chord, right? And you hear it in the blues. Right? It's a common thing. You hear it a lot. Keith Richards has used it. How's he doing? That whole thing is just fourths. And this song kind of opens up with it. Right? It's great. I love the guitar tone on it. But what's really interesting about this song musically, structurally, is that he's grounding it in the key of A. Every verse starts with A. The chorus starts on A. The only thing that doesn't is, he has those little bridges because she sings all night with the saddest songs and she believes the stories are real. Those switch to G. And what's cool about this is he uses three chords through the whole song. This is literally, when they talk about 3-chord rock and roll, this is usually it. He uses A, D, and G, which is not an uncommon progression, but it is kind of uncommon the way he's using it because he's anchoring the song in A, but he's playing chords in the key of D. D's the 1, G's the 4, A's the 5. He's playing the tonic, subdominant, and dominant in the key of D, but he's not anchoring the song in D. And the way he's using the G chord is almost like a secondary dominant. So he's using that D chord as a 4. Even though, with these 3 chords, it should be the 1, he's using it as a cadence point from 4 to 1. The jukebox every day. It resolves to that A. So this is kind of cool because he's basically playing in the key of D, but focusing it on that A as the tonic. Because like the G should be a G sharp diminished, not a G major, if we were truly in the key of A. So it's a neat little, for being just a 3-chord song, it's a cool little twist on it. And like I said, he goes to the G chord for the bridge, but he's still just doing G to D. She believes the stories are D. She lets the music D dictate the way she feels. All right, and then there, when he gets to she lets the music dictate the way she feels, that A chord feels like it should be a dominant that we go back to the root, to the D chord, because the bridge is oftentimes on a 4. G is the 4 of D, and then we end on that A chord. She lets the music know the way she feels. Right? It feels like it should go to that D, but he doesn't. He keeps it. It's only music, only jukebox music. Goes right back to the A. So it's an interesting way to construct a 3-chord song. and it kind of surprised me. For Ray, who's written some very complicated chord patterns, there's not really a seventh chord in here anywhere, and there's nothing more. I mean, it's literally just three chords. This is not hyperbolic talk on my part. It's just A, D, and G. So that's kind of cool. At 5 minutes and 32, it's technically the longest song on the album, although it's basically a statistical tie with Brother that clocks in at like 5:28, I think. And they're back to back on the CD, but Jukebox Music actually opens side 2. There's some great playing on this song, though. The production, like I said, is beautiful. This is a good one to play loud. It does turn into kind of a jam song. And the topic of the stuff, in just about anybody else's hands, would be cheesy. It's about a girl who believes everything she hears in her rock and roll music. There's a lady plays her favorite records on the jukebox every day. All day long, she plays the same old songs and she believes the things that they say. Other ladies like to prance around and flirt and dance the whole night through, but she just sits and listens to jukebox records because that's all that she wants to do. She sings along with all the saddest songs and she believes the stories are real. She lets the music dictate the way she feels. It's only music, only jukebox music. So the irony kind of here is that Ray delivers, even though he's got a commentary here, although I don't know that this is a particularly realistic commentary. I don't think there were a lot of girls sitting around in the mid-70s who were believing that everything they heard on their turntable was real. But it is a commentary. He's telling a story. It's only music. It's only jukebox music. Every guy will do his best to try to put that music out of her head, forget all the songs, and just dance to the music instead. And he turns in one of the Kinks' most danceable songs in years. This is a good jukebox song. And next time I'm at a place that's got one of those digital jukeboxes, I might put this one on, because this is a good one to crank loud, and it's a good dance song. Jukebox music, check it out. If you go to the Spotify playlist that we have, you can search for Hero Habit on Spotify, or probably Kinks and Beats, but you'll have to search past the podcast episodes. There is a music playlist where I put all the songs we've talked about are on there, and I put them all out on Monday. So today they're there for you to listen to, and you can listen to the whole week's music ahead of time. So it's kind of fresh in your ears. Or if you've never heard the song we're talking about, you have a chance to listen to it. And then you can always go back to this playlist because it's a playlist that's got a lot of good music on it. But anyway, this is on there. So go ahead and follow the Kinks and Beats playlist on Spotify. There's also a link for it if you visit herohabit.com and go to the podcast page. There is a link to the playlist so you can follow it from there if you can't find it. As always, give me a call, 925-494-1739. Email kinksandbeats@herohabit.com. Visit us at herohabit.com. There's a lot of other Kinks and Beatles-related material there, as well as a host of other things if you're into sports and pop culture and all that kind of stuff. And then you can follow us at Hero Habit on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I will talk to you tomorrow, New Year's Eve, with George Harrison's song for the new year. All right. Have a great day. This podcast is presented by the Hero Habit Podcast Network. Swing by herohabit.com today to comment on this episode and poke around our growing database of sports and pop culture news, reviews, and collectibles. herohabit.com. Collect your heroes.